everyone, and welcome back to Life with Dr. Amanda. My name is Dr. Amanda and it's time for another Medicine Monday, where the aim is to educate, empower and equip you with the knowledge that you need to live your healthiest life. Today we're going to be talking about the physical effects of stress. So April 2021 is Stress Awareness Month. It's something that's been going on since 1992, but April 2021 is a very special year for the Stress Awareness Month, and that's because we've had a really stressful 12 months. Now, the Mental Health Foundation did a survey, and 74% of UK adults have expressed that they have experienced some kind of stress in the last 12 months. I actually think that number is probably higher, but maybe people aren't perceiving or being acknowledging what they've gone through as being something stressful. But yes, 74%, that's 3 in 4 adults, and so it really is an issue. And there are lots of effects of stress and lots of ways it manifests, and some of those are actually in our physical health. And so today's video, I want to talk to you all about that. Look at the signs that you can look out for, and because it is Stress Awareness Month, this isn't my only video that I'm going to be touching on stress, but the whole month of April we're going to be talking about stress. We're going to be talking about the physical effects, how we can cope with stress, how stress is affecting our children and what we can do to help them. So if it's something that interests you and it's something that we're all been affected with, so I really think it will, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you get a notification every time one of those videos come out, and also like it, comment, and please share it with your family and friends so we can help as many people as possible to overcome stress and be more aware of it. What is stress? Stress is just our reaction to either a harmful situation or some kind of pressure. And that's whether it's real or it's something perceived. It doesn't really matter. If we feel that we are threatened, under pressure, or something harmful is happening, that can induce a stress response. Now, stress can come up when there's something new that's happened, or there's something that's unexpected, or if there's something that's kind of threatened our sense of self or our sense of control. If we think about the last 12 months, I think we've all experienced that. COVID-19 has been unexpected, it's been new, it has taken away our sense of control, and for a lot of us, our sense of self, because things that help us to identify have been kind of stripped away. Now, when stress happens, it evokes a chemical reaction inside the body, what's called the fight or flight response. And so a chemical reaction happens where different hormones and chemicals are released that make our body get ready to either fight the situation, the threatening situation, or run away from it. And things that happen during that is that our heart rate goes up, our breathing rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up, and our muscles start to tense up. Now, stress is really subjective, and so one stressful situation won't be stressful for another person, and each person's body will respond differently. But we're all still at risk of experiencing stress. And now, small levels of stress, a little bit of stress, our body can cope with it, and often it's something good. So, if we are in a threatening situation, a real threatening situation, then of course our body getting ready and that fight or flight response happening so that we can either attack it or run away is important. But other things that aren't so harmful but do put us under pressure, and so we get stressed, the stress response can be positive. So, if we've got an exam coming up or there's a marathon that we need to run, sometimes having a bit of stress can be positive. But when it becomes long-term, frequent, chronic, that's what our body isn't equipped to deal with. And so let's talk today about what the effects of this long-term chronic stress is. Long-term chronic stress can affect us in 4 ways really. Emotionally, the way in which our mind works, our behaviours, and then our physical health. Now, those first 3, the emotional, the thinking, the behaviours, are often what we typically see and associate with stress. So that might be being more agitated, snapping a little bit more, and that we're appearing maybe more withdrawn than usual, or we're starting to have difficulty focusing and making decisions. We often associate those things with stress, and when we see somebody going through that, a family member, a friend, a colleague, we usually think, oh, they're stressed out. But the physical health things are sometimes we can explain away. We can associate them with some other disease process going on, and we don't acknowledge that it can be caused by stress. And so let's go through some of the physical effects of stress. The first thing is having low energy, feeling exhausted all the time. People often get headaches and upset stomachs, and these upset stomachs could be just a bit of pain and cramping, but some people even experience diarrhea and constipation as well with it. Also having aches and pains around the body. If you think about the stress response causing that tension, then often, we can get these aches and pains everywhere. Sometimes it can affect our sleep, either that we're sleeping a lot more than usual, but concomitantly lead to things like insomnia. Also, our sex drive can be affected, and some people's libido can start to decrease too. If you think about the stress response again, our heart rate, our blood pressure goes up, and so some people can experience chest pains and palpitations, which is an awareness of your heart beating or racing. Also, frequent infections can come as well, whether that's getting colds and coughs, or it's getting skin infections, or even getting tooth infections are quite common. And the reason for that is because the chemicals that are involved in a stress response can also make our immune system respond as well. And so those are some of the physical effects, and often we can associate those with lots of other things. It's been winter, there's lots of bugs that are going around, although this year much less than usual because of all the masks and the distancing, but we can often try and explain away these things, but it really is real. I'll tell you about one of my own experience with stress. This last 12 months has been hectic, to say the least. As you can imagine, in the profession that I do, I've had a lot of situations that have been stressful, going through medical school, going through foundation training, and then things that happen in my own personal life as well, away from work. But over the last 12 months, and particularly the last 2 months, I've been a mom, of course, which is a job that you never switch off from. I've been working full time, and also doing extra time on COVID vaccinations and educating people, doing lots of Zoom chats and Q&As and doing pop-up clinics, all extra time on top of my full-time job as well, and often voluntary things. I've also been looking for a new job as well, so job hunting. I've had a very big deadline that I had to do at the end of last month. And all those things kind of just compounded together, and I was feeling extremely stressed. And I just felt like I wasn't getting this relief, this let up. But towards the end of last month, the end of March, I had found a new job. My deadline was complete and I passed everything as I was hoping that I would. And the extra work and the extra clinics that I was doing has slowed down. And then I had 2 weeks of annual leave, which I'm on right now, which is why I'm filming from home. And I'll tell you, the first day of annual leave, I woke up and I felt refreshed. Even though I'd had the same amount of sleep as I've been having before, I felt refreshed, and that exhaustion, the headaches, the abdominal pains that I was having had all started to settle down. And it's because of how stressed I was. And I was even getting frequent infections on my wisdom tooth as well, because our body is not meant to deal with long-term stress. Now, not only are there physical symptoms of it, but there are consequences if we don't respond to those symptoms and make some kind of change. Now, these long-term effects can be problems with our mental health, leading to depression, anxiety, and personality disorders. But there can also be problems with our heart and vessel disease, with our heart and vessel health, so leading to heart and vessel disease. So that's things like having chronic high blood pressure, having strokes and heart attacks, and having heart disease as well. In addition to that, along with the mental health, this does come into that category, but also we can find ourselves having eating disorders or disordered eating. We can also, as women, find that our menstrual cycles, so our periods, are all out of sync as well. And we can also find that our sexual function is changing too. This can be in men and in women, whether it's our libido or problems with erections or anything like that, but that's another consequence of long-term stress. In addition, you might find it coming out in your skin and your hair, leading to things like hair loss and dry hair, but also leading to skin conditions like eczema and psoriasis. And there's also the gut health as well, which can be affected by long-term stress. And it can be more benign or less serious conditions such as irritable bowel syndrome, but it can also lead to quite serious conditions such as reflux disease, gastritis, and even inflammatory bowel disease. As you can see, long-term stress really does have a physical impact. And so although there are the mental health problems and also the changes in your mood and maybe your behaviours and your emotions, it's really important to pay attention to those physical changes too, because it might be indicating that you need to pay attention to your body, to your stress levels, and do something about it. In next week's video, we're going to be talking all about how we can cope with stress, how we can overcome it, so make sure that you stay tuned. And I really hope this was helpful. If you can, things that really help with stress are to talk about your stress, be kind to those that are having stress or going through a stressful situation, and also sharing our ways of coping with stress. I'm going to share some of my ways next week, but if you've got any ways that you cope, everybody's different, please leave it down in the comment box, or follow me over my Instagram, Life with Dr. Amanda, and send me a DM or comment on one of my posts over there and we can get a conversation going. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.